See, here we go. See, now the mic that went down. Jeez. Now the mic that went down. See, I'm over here trying to impress y'all, trying to dance while I do the intro, and the mic just get, gets out of hook, gets unhooked. I'm sorry if it sounds like a little bit of, you know, just a bunch of foolishness going around here. But look, we back. We back. We live and we better than ever, man. Hello, all, and welcome to the Heel Turn Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Jackson Jr. Man, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We got to get into WWE Clash in Paris. First off, look, as I always talk about, this even in the description, even in the when we post, even though it's just one man here, this is a two-man show. This is a two-man show. Of course, Devin is going to be on his way very soon. He won't be here today, but of course, he is making his return really, really soon. Of course, love the brother. And of course, love this brother as well. Justin, what's good? The boss, the redeemer. What's good, my guy? First off, I woke up this morning and saw the profile picture. Absolute fire. Absolute fire. That profile picture is absolutely fire. Just take a look at that. First off, not only should you subscribe to Circle of Debate, I feel like you should also subscribe to Justin as well. Subscribe, stop comment, but follow him as well on all his social medias. That man is absolutely fire. Huge shout out to Jordan Kirby. We all know Logan ain't winning. Look, if Logan winning, we rioting. I don't care what anybody said. We rioting, and we not necessarily boycotting, but we gonna go on strike. We gonna go on WWE strike. I know we ain't working for him, but we done watching WWE for at least a while. I tried to do that when Big E lost. Devin did it. Oh my goodness, when Big E, I believe it was either Big E or Kofi, when one of them lost to Brock Lesnar, because both of them did. But Devin just immediately stopped watching wrestling. He was like, you know what, I think I'm done with this. Like, that was Devin's cutoff moment. I think I've given up on this. And we always talk about that with AEW too. Like, we can complain about AEW. All of us can complain about AEW because I started this podcast because I wanted to complain about WWE. WWE was such hot dog water. It was just so garbage that I wanted to start a podcast to talk about how garbage it was and to explain how it could be better in ways that it could be better. And of course, Devin Jordan Long, and we started clowning. And then of course, we saw the boss. We ran into the boss, and then we ran into the beautiful, beautiful community that is the Circle of Debate community. And it was just a blessing, just an absolute blessing. Which is why if Logan Paul wins, we're going to exercise all of this. And let's get John Cena the win here. Huge shout out to Just in Time. Let's be honest, Cena shouldn't lose until his last match. That's a fact. That's 100% fact. I would completely agree with that. And look, even with John Cena coming through and these are all, I feel like these last couple of matches have just been softballs, outside of the Cody Rhodes match, because we knew Cody Rhodes was going to win the title. We just didn't know if it was going to be at Cena's last match or was he going to drop in and turn babyface. And obviously we see what he's doing now. But, we with John Cena coming through, getting Randy Orton in the forefront. Okay, it's Randy Orton, sure. It's going to be John Cena's first title defense. You can see there's going to be a win there. Of course, there's going to be a dub in John Cena's future. R-Truth, huh? Okay, like, sure, we could do this. We're having fun with it, but R-Truth, why not? But John Cena's run right now, even though it's been, I guess you could call it mediocre, even though a lot of people have said it's disappointing, I'm going mediocre because I'm a John Cena fan. We could definitely say John Cena versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul doesn't need to win this. He doesn't deserve to win this at all whatsoever. This isn't like a who did Baron Corbin beat? Did Baron Corbin beat Kurt Angle in his retirement match? Like, this isn't one of those type of situations. Like, we're not dealing with none of this. We're not going back to that foolishness days. John Cena is going to beat Logan Paul here. Since we're just going to spoil a pick there. Who can take the women's IC title off of Becky? Man, huge shout out to Jordan Kirby. I wanted it to be Lyra. I wanted Lyra to take that title away from her with the quickness. But if we're looking at it, if we're going to find somebody to take that title off of Becky, and if I'm going to look more into the NXT route, let's see how long Jordynne Grace, stays down low on the main roster. I don't see JC Jane dropping the belts and coming up to the main roster. I don't see that happening anytime soon. And also being competitive, with the likes of a Becky Lynch just yet, taking her on head on, especially being a heel. You're not going to see they're not going to see each other for a minute. But honestly, right, I just really wished it was Lyra Valkyria that would have came through and took that title back, took that title away. I know Mia Yim is in SmackDown. She got the quick win against Kiana James. And honestly, I just don't think she's doing absolutely nothing. She's doing just absolutely nothing. And so now we're looking at what this women's division is. What's going on with Bayley? Bayley right now is dealing with schizophrenia. Just like huge shout out to Jordan Kirby, man. Bayley right now is dealing with a huge sister. Like she's going through it right now. When we seen the promos that she's going through, and you're hearing her going back to her old ways, ding dong, hello, idiot, like you have no friends, they betrayed you. Remember, like you brought them in and they betrayed you. Let's go back to that. And so, like, and I love it, I think that's perfect. Bayley turning heel. You're seeing, and we talked about Sasha Banks in the last stream, and the great Sasha Banks. We talked about Mercedes Moné in the last stream. Of course, her being Bayley's best friend, in real life. I honestly do think that Bayley can be as dominant as a Mercedes Moné right now, because we've seen it in the pandemic era. Her and Drew McIntyre, Sasha Banks at the time, and Drew McIntyre, I think carried WWE during those pandemic days. Fully believe that. Are you enjoying WWE in 2025? Huge shout out to Jordan Kirby. Huh? You know what's crazy? I thought I was. I was watching it through rose-colored glasses. Like while everybody was talking about how badly John Cena's title reign was, and how come Triple H is putting together mediocre PLEs, I didn't necessarily think it was all that bad, because I felt like I was just watching the same thing. I guess I was more in tune with the storytelling, because it was more than what we got from a couple years back, so I was really, really intrigued with how WWE was going at first. And then as you're looking back at it, you're going through and you're just like, man, that John Cena Cody Rhodes match at WrestleMania was kind of hot dog order. It's just like it was pretty trash once we go back and look at it, And so honestly, with certain things I'm okay with, I'm okay with Seth Rollins. I'm okay with Braun Breaker, joining the Vision, Bronson Reed, the tribal thief, and of course Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, doing his own thing as well. I like where everybody's going. I'm intrigued to see what's next. I'm not interested right now, but I'm intrigued to see what's next. I guess that if that makes sense. I guess it's the potential aspect of it all. Oh, really intrigued by the Bayley character. I know, right? Like, it's just like she's going a little crazy. She's just going a little crazy, like my dogs right now, mainly because my dad's here. But she's going a little crazy, and I kind of like it. It's a little hot. It's just like it's a little attractive. If you get my drift. But like Bayley is just so amazing at everything she does. Like I am a huge fan of the Bayley. I was getting a little Bayley fatigue, when she was laughing with Seth Rollins, cackling back and forth. I was just like, man, this could get annoying after a while. My ears kind of hurt, but they're really cool. They're really cool to watch. Bayley per se. So I got zero problem with what Bayley has going on. Is Bayley going to have a split personality like Bray Wyatt had? I think she could pull it off. I definitely think she could pull it off. I think that she's a better heel than she is a babyface. So that's one thing I'll put to her. I'll attest to her. But even as the hugger, I thought she was really cool. It's not that she won the kids' hearts, as the hugger. While on the flip side, you're a bad guy. Yeah, you're gonna bother everybody. You're gonna get everybody's last nerves. A huge shout out to Jordan Kirby. When will Braun Breaker gonna break away from Seth Rollins? Because it's gonna happen eventually. I do think, and I've talked about this before, I do think there's gonna be some type of plan where Paul Heyman, he was forced to join Seth. It seemed like he was forced to join Seth Rollins after a while, when it's all said and done. I feel like Paul Heyman has like there's always plan B type of scheme where he's going to put Braun Breaker ahead of Seth Rollins. At some point in time, I do think Braun Breaker is going to have the wise man by his side. And I do think it's going to come at the portrayal of Seth Rollins. It's just going to be a matter of when. And I can't wait. I definitely think that's going to be one of the reasons. Here comes huge shout out to Justin. If WWE isn't elevating Lyra to the main scene, then this would justify Nikki winning the title so Lyra can challenge for the title. Ooh, that's a good point. But even then, I just don't please don't give Nikki Bella nothing. I don't want to give Nikki Bella anything at all. Like Nikki Bella, number one, I haven't been interested in her wrestling since. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, exactly. I can come over here and go through the history of Nikki Bella, and I know. No, number one, I don't want to. Number two, it's boring. I can't. Nikki Bella does not need a championship, does not need to hold a WWE championship in 2025. That doesn't need to be a thing at all. I don't think I'm being crazy. I don't think I'm being shocking by saying that Nikki Bella doesn't need a title in 2025. That's just not needed at all, especially with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has just been cooking her on this road to the Clash in Paris, just absolutely cooking her. And I think this has been the best mic work from Becky Lynch since back in her man era. So like when we're looking at that, I definitely believe that this could be something totally. This could be a really, really big letdown if we see Becky Lynch drop this title to Nikki Bella. And that's the thing. I was complaining about Becky Lynch winning the title to begin with, and now I'm complaining about her dropping it. So it's just like, you see how crazy this makes you? You see how insane this makes you? If you added a fourth member to Seth's faction, who would it be? Huge shout out to Jordan Kirby. If I had another member, I would have loved for it to be Austin Theory. I would have really loved for it to be Austin Theory, because you would have had, I feel like I explained this before, but like in a little weird way. I feel like Seth Rollins could have had like a evolution style. Braun Breaker would have been your Batista. Now you wouldn't have an old head. Your old head is Paul Heyman, but obviously he's not going to be wrestling. But your quote unquote Ric Flair, that would be your Austin Theory. Well, Seth Rollins. Okay, let me redo that. Seth Rollins is your Triple H. Seth Rollins is going to be your Triple H. Braun Breaker is your Batista. Of course, you're going to have a Randy Orton. Austin Theory would be my Randy Orton. Braun Breaker is just going to be the muscle. Bronson Reed, excuse me. Bronson Reed is just going to be the muscle, the extra muscle. You're just going to have two guys for the muscle, of course, to be your bodyguards. And then, of course, your athletes, your athleticism on either side as well. So I would have loved to have Austin Theory, because I feel like it would have helped Austin Theory a whole lot more. Austin Theory would have had that, not necessarily we would have looked at him like a Wheeler Yuta in Death Riders, but we know he's not going to be above anybody else, as Wheeler Yuta is in Death Riders. We know we're not going to see him above anybody else, and not even Marina Shafir, in the Death Riders. So in Austin Theory's case, we know he's there, as a learning process, as a learning step. And then when it's time for him to take over the vision, he can move over and also portray Seth Rollins in the process, as well, as I think that Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker is going to do. I feel like this could be a whole lot that we could do with this as well. Huge shout out to Jordan Kirby as well. So Solo dropped the U.S. title. Now, what does he plummet down the card, or does he stay relevant? And see, that's the thing. They're doing too much. I think they're doing way too much with Solo Sikoa. And even with Solo Sikoa coming in, and me thinking that he was going to be the bully that I thought he was, and at least as I thought he was in NXT and coming up to the WWE, and now that's not the case. It's annoying. Sami Zayn, annoying. Sami Zayn is just annoying me. It's a heavy degree. It's not to an Aaliyah degree. It's definitely not to an Aaliyah degree, but it's definitely to a point to where I'm just fatigued of seeing Sami Zayn being the underdog, being the guy that, we're not rooting for. He could potentially get beat up 90% of the match, but then come through with 5 haluva kicks and get the win. No, we don't have time for this. Sami Zayn, you had your time. You had your time with Chad Gable. You and Chad Gable had y'all times at the exact same moment, and you won over Chad Gable. And now what? And now and nothing has changed. Yes, Sami Zayn is still over, but brother, like, we just sacrificed Solo Sikoa in the run that he had over Sami Zayn, in a run that we saw over a couple times already. Like, didn't we just see Sami Zayn win against Gunther? Didn't we see Sami Zayn also try to defy the odds to come over and beat Braun Breaker, who was bullying him for months? Like, it's just like, and now he has to come over and get the win and take the title over Solo Sikoa, who now is showing some personality, and now who has a family beside him, and nothing. and nothing just for Sammy's. It's just like that's just ridiculous. I just think that's childish. I think that's 100% childish, and I really really don't like the fact that Solo Sikoa has to suffer through all this. You only had a 62-day reign. You only had a couple months. And we could talk about that all day. We was talking about Liv Morgan, with her with her first reign, and then she went on to completely shut me down as well. Huge shout out to Jordan Kirby as well. Is Judgment Day on the verge of kicking Liv out of the group for a new girlfriend for Dom, or is Dom gone as well? That's a good question. See, I don't know what Finn is planning. Finn is planning something. To get Dominic Mysterio out of there. I don't think Dominic Mysterio was going to get. I don't think it's going to be vice versa. He's going to get Finn out. I think Finn is going to find a way to get Dom out. Dominic Mysterio is the young man. He's the young guy in the situation. Finn is almost 50. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. Finn is almost 50 years old. Like he's the veteran here. I think he's going to find a way to outsmart Dominic Mysterio, get him out of the Judgment Day. And that's going to be through Roxanne Perez. I think Roxanne Perez is the mold. I think they're going to play it like the street way. Roxanne Perez is the chick, the setup chick. It's going to go out there, get Dominic Mysterio, set him up. Liv Morgan's going to come through with the woodworks, get Dominic Mysterio in trouble. Dominic Mysterio's out of there. It's going to be a problem. I definitely see that 100%. Judgment Day, I don't necessarily think they're in a huge wad of trouble or anything like that, but I think Dominic Mysterio, after this whole Judgment after this whole Judgment Day thing is all said and done, he's going to be a dog. And he's a dog right now, but man, the sky is the limit for this dude. Like WWE, your prime is in your 30s, 40s. Whew, that man's 27 and he's looking great. It's just like, now granted, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to speak this into existence, we've seen it with the best of them, like when guys that start off really, really young, of course, you have to deal with your fair share of injuries throughout it. So we do miss a time when you're at your youngest, when you're at your stage. We've seen it from Seth Rollins numerous of times, Roman Reigns, unfortunately, numerous of times. And that was even with, cancer as well, unfortunately. And so like we see a whole lot of that. And we see them go through those processes. Dominic Mysterio, we just see him actually go through an injury as well. So, health, I think, is a huge part in how he manages himself too. Because the Miz makes a great point. I wrestle the way I do because I stay healthy. I show up 24/7, and that was some real stuff that he said. What if we get Judgment Day versus Judgment Day 2.0? Ooh, I think Dominic Mysterio can work some magic. Dominic Mysterio is showing that he could be a great recruiter, and I think that's also what he's showing by talking to El Grande Del Americano. You see Finn Balor, being really suspicious about Dominic Mysterio, but Dom, I think he's playing his cards. He's showing that, hey, I could recruit my own squad too. If he gets kicked out, he's gonna have his own team. He has a backup. I don't think we can not undermine, but I don't think we can underestimate Dominic Mysterio. I'm kind of ready for the Judgment Day to come to an end. Huge shout out to Justin, the boss. He says the faction feels like it has overstayed its welcome. I think you have a point, because when you start showing us the same thing, but then of course there's different changes to it. They keep trying to be innovative. We have a new undisclosed location. Huge shout out to Devin. It's like we have a new undisclosed location. Oh, well, we have new theme music. Oh, now Finn has new theme music. Now we have individual theme music for each and every. It's just like time out. let's calm down a little bit. It's definitely has run its course. And there's no more seeds. I don't think there's any more seeds that need to be planted here in this kerfuffle that we have here, or whatever word that I just used. It's just like I don't think there's any more that needs to be explained here with the feud between the Judgment Day, between the inner workings of the Judgment Day. So I really don't see the necessary need for them to continue on with this. So yeah, Justin, I'm definitely in agreement with you. I wouldn't be mad if this came to an end next week, let alone within a couple weeks. Well, it's been 4 years of Judgment Day, just ended at War Games. Yeah. It's been 4 years. 4 years. And granted, look at that. We've had almost what more than a decade of the New Day. If we can switch days, it's just like of the New Day. And man, I'm still getting just overly fatigued of the New Day. And I love the theme music, but when they come out, y'all not talking about nothing. Yeah, you guys are heels. Even if they were baby faces, I still would just be tired. I feel like they wasted a golden. No, they didn't waste a golden opportunity by not splitting them up, because what they did, I think, was pretty good. Yeah, I thought what they did was pretty good. They got themselves a title, even though it was a lackluster title reign. It got themselves a championship, so sure. But I'm sick of them as well. I just think the tag team division itself just needs a fresh start. Just needs just a fresher look. You got a whole lot of tag teams. Well, not a whole lot, but a decent amount of tag teams in NXT as well that can come through and kind of refresh on that as well. I didn't even touch on the Clash in Paris lineup either. I was like 20 minutes in. WWE Clash in Paris predictions with Isaiah Jackson Jr. 20 minutes in. It's like 20 minutes. But huge shout out to you guys. Love having conversations with you guys as well, talking about WWE news. And now, of course, Nikki Bella also ruined it as well for me. Nikki Bella, as soon as you bring up her name, I gotta go on a tangent. I got tangents for days. But of course, got the tag team championships, the Wyatt Six, mainly Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, defending against the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. And look, New Day, not New Day. I was reading Jordan Kirby's comments when I was about to talk, but let me go to Jordan Kirby's comments. New Day were horrible champions. That's why I turned my TV off. What do you mean by let's have a conversation? Do you mean like currently, or do you mean like all time? Like, because I can understand, like, back in like maybe 2015, 2014, 2013, the bootios, the twerking, I can understand. Like, I can understand being an adult or even being a teenager and being like, okay, this is why I don't watch wrestling. Like I can understand that. I can completely understand that. But I was entertained. I was entertained. I was highly entertained by the New Day. Because of course, I feel like everybody, was insanely overly emotional. Kofi Kingston winning the World Heavyweight, winning the WWE Championship against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. It was just a beautiful moment. Just a beautiful moment. The New Day are just always coming together. And then of course, them holding the record for the longest tag team title reign. That was absolutely incredible. I remember them. I forgot who they beat in the opening match. But then they were celebrating backstage and they had the cereal. And then when I forgot who it was, but they smacked the cereal and the cereal got all over Stephanie McMahon. And then she put them in like a triple threat tag match for the tag titles. And then they ended up winning. That was a perfect Raw. Because I think I was at Indiana State at that time just watching it. I was like, that was a beautiful match. I was like, that was awesome. I was like, I'm sports entertained. I was like, I needed that today. Huge shout out to Jordan Kirby. He said, I enjoyed the power of positivity, but this current run is bad, is what I meant. No, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But like I said, even if a lot of people didn't like the power of positivity, didn't like the colorful stuff, the dancing, the gyrating, Big E on the ropes, it's just like, I can understand that. I can completely understand that, because I can't sit there and watch it with my parents. Sit there with my parents while I'm watching wrestling and they're watching the New Day. And I'm sitting here with my fake trumpet with Francesca, trying to dance along with them. No, it ain't happening. I'm sorry. I'm embarrassing myself. It's just like I'm getting kicked out here. But look, the Wyatt Six, no problem with the Wyatt Six. I just wish we got a little bit more exposure to them while this whole thing was going on, because I felt like when they debuted, they showed up and then they showed up in splotches. Okay, they showed up like every 2 or 3 weeks. That's why I really think that this was one of the bigger problems we had with the Wyatt Six coming up, and which is why they failed to get any sort of momentum. Like, the fans still loved them just based off the name and what they represented alone. But I felt like the WWE just failed to show them as often as they should, which is why I was really, really underwhelmed when they won the tag titles. Why is I not losing at the Clash? And I think the Street Profits break up. Ooh, that's pretty smooth, Jordan. Look, I think that the Street Profits, I don't think they break up just yet. I do think they milk this just a little bit. I love Montez. I do love Montez Ford as a babyface and as a singles competitor as well. I do think that he could be something vicious, or he could be a heel as well. I won't limit his ceiling either. But Angelo Dawkins, oh man, I would love to see him as a singles competitor, but I do think he's one of those guys that just need a tag team partner. It's just like, I'm sorry, and I feel like I always say that about one guy in the tag in the tag team. You know, it's just like, oh, well, this guy, he could be a great singles competitor. He'll be awesome. But this other guy, I think he might just be one of those that might need another tag team partner. You know, it's just like that. That's just how I see it. See, and even Jordan, this is huge shout out to Jordan. Please push Montez as a single star. Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, I do think Montez will be great as a single star. I think he could be a really good mid carder, go hovering over the IC US title division, and also winning it a couple times, being the Kofi Kingston, you know, the SOS Kofi Kingston, not necessarily being that, but like in terms of having that charisma and having the success, you know, in building off of what he built on, you know. And so honestly, and getting the wins over guys like the Miz and on occasion once, you know, Randy Orton, you know. So honestly, you gotta love Montez Ford and the work that he's put in, and you see that he can be a single star. I think Angelo Dawkins could be a single star competitor, but I do think you would have to put him in NXT. I would need to see him in NXT to do so. Montez Ford, you can show up on Raw by yourself, spit a promo, and I'm stuck. Okay, you got me. You know, it's just like, okay, cool. You have already shown me that you can, not only by spitting a promo, but even having the match later on that day, you could be that guy. Like, you know, it's just like, I don't doubt that one bit. Angelo Dawkins, I might need to see you in NXT. You know, I might need to see you not involved. I'm not going to go that far, but I might need to see you in NXT. Just show yourself. You know, look Obafemi in the eyes, push him, go back and forth. You know, just put him and push him there, push him in NXT, and have him be something great there. But that's just my thoughts and opinions. I'm not trying to be discouraging to Angelo Dawkins, which I don't think is discouraging at all. Because if somebody told me, "Hey, bro, I know you're in the tag division on the main roster, but do you want to be a singles competitor in NXT and fight on the main fight for the NXT title?" Yes, like of course. Angelo Dawkins gonna spit a promo and he go fight a bunch of singles, you know, in a bunch of singles matches, you know. But that's just me. I'm sorry, I'm just me fan. That's just me doing fantasy booking, you know. But honestly, I do think that Angelo Dawkins can be nice as a singles competitor. I just have to see it. Montez Ford, we've seen it a couple times. We've seen it a couple times, and I think he's already proven to us that he can. So yeah, the YS6 for the win. YS6 for the win, 100%. WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Becky Lynch taking on Nikki Bella. Please don't lose this match, Becky. I am begging you. Please don't lose this match. I am begging you. We do not need to see Nikki Bella holding a women's championship in 2025. I'll keep saying it because that just shouldn't happen. It's unnecessary. Who gains from that? Oh yeah, and that's the thing. I talked about this with Devin because it's shocking. Well, I guess it's not shocking because I'm a guy. You know, so I'm a guy, so I wouldn't understand. So I guess it's not shocking. I guess I'll rephrase it to say I'm shocked that Nikki Bella has just a chokehold on a lot of the women growing up watching wrestling. And what I mean by that is me and Devin have interviewed a couple, not necessarily, let me say a few, not a couple, a few women's wrestlers. And they said the same thing, that Nikki Bella was one of their biggest influences. And we were just like, really? Why? You know, it's just like, really? Like I was a Brie Bella fan, you know, Brie Mo, sure, you know, because she was doing the suicide dive. She was athletic. Nikki Bella was the muscle, which I understand. Cool, a lot of people like the muscle, but even then, I didn't really care for what Nikki Bella was doing. You know, I really didn't care for what Nikki Bella was doing. She couldn't talk to me. She couldn't talk. I wish you would have died in the womb. Like she can't spit a promo. Like Nikki Bella was just completely awful to me. And so at least Brie mode, I got some emotion, you know, from her. And maybe and I guess maybe you can pinpoint to the relationships at the time. Daniel Bryan being the underdog, Brie Bella falling under that underdog umbrella as well. I'll never think Nikki Bella fell under an underdog umbrella. I just feel like she's always been dominant. And then, of course, she had a dominant Divas reign as well. Then, of course, you know, her husband being dominant. Pause. But, you know, it's just like that's just how it is. And so Nikki Bella, I just never once understood the hype around Nikki Bella. I did in the beginning And then of course the rack attack, her putting her her finishing move. I really don't necessarily think that she was all that great to begin with. I do think she was good. Is she a Hall of Famer? She's gonna have to be. She's gonna have to be. She's gonna have to be, right? Right? She's gonna have to be. Is Nikki Bella Hall of Famer? She's gonna have to be. She's gonna have to be. You know, it's just like she's gonna have to be. So honestly, huge shout out to Justin. Justin said, I'm just so uninterested in this Becky and Nikki feud. The two of them just don't epitomize what the women's intercontinental title is supposed to be used for. Yes. 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 That is it. Yes. The two of them just don't epitomize what the women's intercontinental title is supposed to be used for. Yes. Lyra Valkyria versus Dakota Kai was exactly what that women's IC title was supposed to be used for. Matches like that for competitors like that. Lyra Valkyria versus Ivy Nile. Matches like that for competitors like that. Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley. And now we got Becky Lynch taking on a part-timer and Nikki Bella. You know, like, come on now. Like, no, thank you. That was put a tear to my eye. Tear to my eye. Like, you know, it's just like and that's 100, that's facts. You know, and that's facts. That's something that you can't take away. And I just really don't understand why you're pushing away people like the Lyra Valkyrias, like, you know, the Ivy Niles and the as I go on to let me see. Try to think of one. Well, they already released Dakota Kai, but Kairi Sane, you know, who isn't really doing much right now. But what I really want to see is how this Asuka Io Sky situation is going to turn out, because, you know, there's blood in the water there, and oh my goodness, Asuka versus Io Sky will feed the streets. Oh, like that's unreal. You can promote that anywhere. Asuka versus Io Sky is absolutely insane. Like, that's a WrestleMania. To me, that's a WrestleMania match. That's a WrestleMania match. Especially, you seen the way Asuka pushed Io Sky, and then she turned, like, it was like the cameraman just was like, hold on, let me just zoom in on the biceps. Like, it was like, let me zoom in on the pythons there. Like, Asuka was over there built. Like, you know, it's just like, and you know, this is just an insane, that's an insane story that's gonna have, even if the build sucks, I don't even care, because the match is gonna be just through the roof. Now, it's not gonna, I'm praying it's not gonna be like anything like a AJ Styles, like an AJ Styles or Shinsuke Nakamura, where I thought that was gonna be one that's gonna feed the streets too, without even knowing the Japanese history behind it, and I didn't even know the New Japan history behind neither of them. I was still hyped for it, still excited for it, and still disappointed by it. So that was one thing that really, really disappointed me in the worst way imaginable, you know, in that instance. So I definitely think that would be really, really cool. But yeah, Stephanie Vaquer isn't going to get a title shot. Stephanie Vaquer, huge shout out to Jordan Kirby. What is WWE doing with Stephanie Vaquer? Stephanie Vaquer right now, she's just like sitting in limbo. Just sitting in limbo right now for the time being. She was supposed to fight Naomi, I believe. But Naomi, of course, pregnant. And by the way, I don't think I ever said congratulations, huge congratulations to Naomi and Big Jim, because they are now announced that they are pregnant. They're finna have a baby, and it's always good to see. But the best part about that was Naomi still pretty much spitting the heel promo, you know, saying, hey man, I'm still hormoned up. You better get out of my ring. Adam Pearce, you know what? I just get up out of here. I'll take the L. I ain't gonna, usually I'll be snapping. Usually I snap back. I'm a dip. I'm gonna get up out of here. And so, and then she says, you know, like, don't slip on your church shoes on your way out. And then she just spits the meanest promo, you know, very Big Chill, like the Netflix and chill, you know. She's like, I'm gonna give y'all 9 months of some change, and I come back with my baby in my arms. You know, it's just like, that's, ooh, proceed with caution, man. I can't wait. And so, honestly, Naomi, I don't care that you have to drop the title. And I like I said, I love listening to Jim Cornette. I do listen to the Jim Cornette podcast. I'm skipping that episode. I don't care what you got to say. I don't care what you got to say about what you got, your opinions on that, because I already know what it is. There it goes. Had to get that red thing on my hair. Yes, I know I need a haircut. I'm looking rough. I'm looking rough around the edges. I'm struggling. I was supposed to get it twisted, but still working on that. I'll probably get it twisted on Monday, Tuesday. But outside of that, huge shout out to Jordan Kirby. What is WWE doing with the Women's World Championship? Oh man. Justin also comes in and says WWE had their out with the Women's World title. Stephanie won the Battle Royal to get the title match, and Io is owed the title match since Naomi couldn't defend it. There's your match. Ooh, and we can get to running back with Stephanie Vicaire and Io. I love that. I love that so much. How many moms do we have in the WWE? How many moms do we have in the WWE? Jade Cargill. Let me see. Bianca Belair has stepkids, so we could go through. We can do a whole stream on that. Let's do a whole stream on that, and we can also talk about how great it is as well, because I feel like a lot of people have a negative connotation with women in wrestling, where you got pregnant. Oh, there goes your 9 months. Oh, well, look at that. You're gonna really get pregnant in the prime of your career. Like a lot of people, at least in terms of veterans, old heads, because I won't necessarily say this as a this generation take. It's mainly old heads, that's in that Jim Cornette era that have that ideology, which I do think is just idiotic. It's just, you can still, as you can see from Becky Lynch, you can still get pregnant, have a child, raise them, and negotiate for a new contract and come back and win a title. So it's just like, huge shout out to Justin. In simple words, a lot. We can ask how many fathers there are too. Too many, absolutely too many. And some, I ain't gonna go there. I was gonna say something. I was gonna make a Rampage Jackson diss, but I ain't gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Huge shout out to Psycho Stu though. We seen the picture of him. He is awake. And he is doing solidly well, but there is another GoFundMe for him to, for his recovery and medical expenses. So definitely take a look at that as well if you guys are interested in pitching in and contributing. Who's excited for college football? Look, the only team I'm repping, because I got adopted to Arizona State when I was not reporting for them, but for the station that I was at. I was reporting at Arizona State. And the best game I saw at Arizona State was them versus Oregon, when Bo Nix threw at least 5 touchdowns before the first half and then just left. He threw 5 touchdowns in the first half. Yeah, I think I'm done. I still got a video of him just launching a beautiful, oh my goodness, because I was in the end zone, and he just launched up just a beautiful lob to his wide receiver, caught it, ran up, he doesn't run up to me, but he runs up near me, and of course the firework, it was beautiful. I didn't win nothing for it, it was on my phone, but it was beautiful. It was awesome. But I'm Arizona State. I love me some Kenny Dillingham. Kenny Dillingham was an amazing guy. I actually got the chance to meet him. A really, really cool individual. Energy is through the roof. Like, he talks 1,000 words a second. What? Yeah. We're just focused on training. Because training is the best thing that we do for our kids. And the best thing we do for our kids, we give them Ubers and shelters, and we do everything that we do for Teddy is just as well as we did with Teddy Bridgewater. We do everything just good. He has that 1,000 and he's just like the Phoenix Suns owner, Matt Ishbia. They talk the exact same way, just high. They're just high volume, high velocity, just fast. And so I didn't mean to get off on a sports tangent there, but I'm excited. I'm excited for college football. Sheamus versus Rusev. Who you got? Huge shout out Jordan Kirby. Oh, I got Sheamus. I don't think Rusev. This is a Donnybrook. I think this is built for Sheamus. And I do think that Sheamus is going to beat Rusev. Rusev is going to get his time. Right now, it doesn't look like it looks like Rusev signed to the WWE, and he's not going to get what he signed up for. He's going to be pretty much put in the same exact position that he once was in, which is what it's looking like now. But I do think he's going to get his time to shine. I do think at some point in time, he will hold a mid-card title once again, and I think he'll hold a dominant but boring reign. I think he'll hold the title for maybe 4 or 5 months, and then we'll move on. But I'm actually going to go live again tonight, to talk about the Clash at Paris. And when I do that, I want to have the conversation of, is WWE or AEW as well, are we having shorter title reigns? And is that a good thing? because I had that talk with Devin about 3 years ago, and I think Justin was there too. Like we had this talk a while ago, like years ago, and I think it was with the mid card titles. I believe it was the United States title that just kept swapping back and forth, and the TNT title. It was a TNT title as well, and it just kept getting swapped over. And kept going just it was like a merry-go-round around the mid card division, and I think we can talk about that now. I think we can talk about that tonight. You know, is WWE and AEW and just wrestling in general, are the title reigns getting shorter, and is that a good thing? You know, for the wrestling business and for us, for the fans themselves. But I got Sheamus in this good old fashioned Donnie Brook match, and I think Rusev is going to be just fine afterwards as well. Roman Reigns taking on Bronson Reed, the Tribal Thief. The OTC taking on the Tribal Thief. Look, Bronson Reed, I think he's gonna have an awesome showing. You know, I think, but I've been so bored with Roman. I don't know about y'all. I've been so bored with Roman Reigns matches. I've been bored. I don't think I've been excited about a Roman Reigns match. Maybe since since him and Cody at Mania, and then even before then, it's been tough. Like Roman Reigns 1v1, I'm struggling to watch. You know, they're not struggling to watch. Let me tell you, I'm thinking that's too far. I just think it's boring. It's getting boring. It's getting stale. Now, Bronson Reed, he's fun. Bronson Reed is fun to watch. That dude's a powerhouse. I think for the first time in a while, we're gonna see Roman Reigns, not necessarily ragdoll, but he's gonna get thrown around the ring a little bit. So that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to. I haven't heard from Devin in a minute, so it's just like, you know, I haven't heard from Devin in a minute. So I'm gonna definitely, like I said, and I texted this to Devin too. I said, brother, I haven't heard from you since Roman Reigns started losing his shoes. I was like, I started seeing these shoe followers, and I haven't heard from you since. I was like, where you been, brother? I was like, you trying to get these shoes back? Like, what's happening? Devin over here on his boat, you know, just like just traveling across the 7 seas over here, trying to get the shoe follow back from the Tribal Thief. And so it's just like, outside of all jokes aside, I got Roman Reigns coming in for the win here. I think Bronson Reed is going to be dominant, going to ragdoll Roman Reigns, and then of course Roman Reigns going to hit his weak, and I mean weak, Superman punch. Get down Bronson Reed, hit him with a spear, and call him a day. We got John Cena taking on Logan Paul. We already talked about that. We got the WWE World Champion Seth Rollins defending against Jey Uso, LA Knight, and CM Punk as well. Jordan Kirby, huge shout out to you. Can we please have a shoe on a pole match at WrestleMania 42 between Roman and Bronson? Look, we need this. It's like we need this right now, but we need to have it on like an electrical cord. You ever walk down the street and the electrical cords, they have the shoe, like just a pair of shoes randomly. And it's like, how did you even get those up there? It's like, who is throwing random shoes up there trying to hook them up? But I understand. You seem like Mike. So I understand what you're trying to do. but it's just like, brother, that's what we need to have. We need to have a ladder, put them up on this string, and call it a day. We need to have a shoe on an electric wire match. That's what we need. I'm down for it. WrestleMania 42. Book it, Hunter. We have the WWE World Champion Seth Rollins, of course. Jey Uso, LA Knight, CM Punk. Seth Rollins is winning this. Like, Seth Rollins ain't losing this title with the quickness. He just got it. Seth Rollins just got this title. So I don't think there's any way, shape, or form. I can see CM Punk letting his anger get the best of him, trying to pretty much destroy Seth Rollins, and Jey Uso and LA Knight get him out of the way. You know, I can see to where CM Punk is going to make a mistake that's going to cost him this match. That's one thing that I do definitely see with CM Punk, because right now he's just blinded. He's blinded by rage. He has no problem with LA Knight, but he has a problem with LA Knight. And, you know, LA Knight was costed a match, you know, between, he was fighting Seth Rollins before the championship. CM Punk interfered, and LA Knight is like, look, bro, man, you're dipping into, got your nose in my business. Well, I don't need that. You know, I don't need that to happen. Now we got a problem. You know, but he's just like, hey, but one of the coldest lines that he hit was, hey, I'll let you know this for sure. When I win the title, you'll be my very first successful title defense. Yeah. You know, it's just like, that's fire. I'm sorry. CM Punk, you got cooked. Don't say a word. It's just like, you didn't even have to say a rebuttal. That's how cold that line was. Brother, just stop. He's just like, all right, just drop the mic. You said what you had to say. CM Punk, get him out of there. But yeah, Seth Rollins is winning this match. I don't see in any way, shape, or form Seth Rollins is getting ready to drop this belt anytime soon. I just don't see that happening. And I think this is going to be a fun match. This is actually my fight of the night because I do think the rest of them is going to be tough. Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns is going to be a slow-paced match. John Cena, Logan Paul. Logan Paul is going to have a spot or two where it's going to be entertaining, but obviously John Cena is not going to be doing too much because he's John Cena. The good old-fashioned Donnybrook match, Sheamus and Rusev. I can see that being fun. That's going to be fun, a fun, hard-hitting match, so that might give it some competition. That's going to be the two entertaining matches on my book. But Becky Lynch taking on Nikki Bella, my expectations are lower than low, beyond low. So I got no hope for that. And the Wyatt Six taking on the Street Profits. It's not necessarily that I think it's going to be a good match, but it's not necessarily that my expectations are low. I just think it's going to be a solid match. It's like a match that you had on SmackDown. A match that you could have had on a weekday. That's one of my takes on there. So, look, that was our predictions. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in as well. I also have to do some Bulls work. I got to do some Chicago Bulls work as well. So I have to come on here, of course, talk some wrestling. I'm going to go over to the other channel. So for those that don't know, I work on a channel called Bulls Digest. We talk about the Chicago Bulls and pretty much all the news reports. And we have a little fun talking about the Chicago Bulls. So I'm going to go over. I have a video that I'm going to post on there. Of course, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to wait for you guys. I'm going to post it. And of course, I'm going to see if I can like it and share it to the heel turn as well. That's what I'm going to start doing. Going to start finding more ways to post it as well because I've been slacking on that for sure. So be on the lookout for that. Huge shout out to Justin, awesome show, my guy, and a huge shout out to Justin. Justin showed up on Twitch. I've been on Twitch for the past couple days when the studio has been getting worked on. By the way, I don't think I showed y'all this. Hold on. I went to. There you go. Uh-oh. That was almost bad. So, I went to Bulls Fest. For those that don't know, the Chicago Bulls, which is one of the reasons why I went to Bulls Fest, because I cover the Chicago Bulls on the channel. So, I went to Bulls Fest. So I was out in Chicago. And it was a whole lot of fun. That I had a really, really fun time. And so one thing that I did grab from there was, of course, I had to grab the Dunks, the Slam magazine, of course, D Rose and Eric Gordon in their freshman, well, not freshmen, they were high school at the time, going into their senior year. Of course, coming for that number one spot, that high school number one spot, 2006, 2007. Derrick Rose and Simeon. I've never played against Simeon, but I was in the gym for a tournament when they were there. And I had no business being on the same court. Because I had no business being on that floor at all. I'm over here sitting doing my basic layups. They sitting there doing windmill. And you go ahead, brother. You can have that. You can have that. I'm just a baseball player. It's just like I just throw me a baseball. I got y'all. I could join a Simeon baseball team. Sure. Basketball, y'all can keep that. Y'all can keep that. But one thing that I found was, of course, now people are, and it was an antique mall, and I ain't gonna lie, a lady friend did put me on. Well, she was a lady friend, now she's just a lady. But she's just like, she put me on to antique malls and antique stores. And one thing that I found was somebody had posters and cards, and they were put them pretty much on hardwood on these little plaques. And so I found like a couple of these, but I only grabbed one. And of course, it was Cody Rhodes, Nightmares Do Come True. This one was so solid. I'm gonna save the other one because I'm gonna go back and get one for Devin. But I'm not, because I'm assuming that he's not watching this. But I'm going to go back and get another one for Devin because I thought this one was so cool. So that's going to be hanging up behind me right here. And so I will be live again tonight. I'm going to go live again tonight. I just have to do some Chicago Bulls work real fast, get that done, and get it out the way. He shout out to Justin. Hey, those are fresh. Hey, it was fun, right? It is sick. Yeah, it is clean. Like, it is absolutely, it's glistening. And so, but brother, Justin, if you want one too, if you want one too, I will happily send you one as well. That is no problem at all. I'll actually run there right now. It's just like I'll actually run there right now. Honestly, everything I love. We got to get you back on COD soon. Here, let's do this one. Let me see. Let's check my schedule right now. Let me check my radio schedule right now. Let's check my radio. I'm doing this on stream right now. Let me check my schedule. August 30th to the 12th. Let's see here. Working Saturday. Off Monday. Justin, Monday. I get off at 5 o'clock Monday. I'll just go home and I'll set up Monday. Monday. I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna get the text. I'm gonna go stream. I'm actually gonna. Where's my tweet? Where's my stuff at? And so Monday. Let me actually here. I'm doing this all on stream. Let me see. Monday. Yes. Look at that. We'll surprise Notorious Dom and Kayla. Look, here it goes right here. Monday. And I gotta do it at 6. Let me see. I'm gonna set the alarm at 6 o'clock. That way I should be home by then and should be able to set up and clean up and move everything around. And I could tell my boss, look, no, I ain't coming in. Look, I ain't coming in today. I'm sorry. This ain't happening. That way, there's no interruptions, there's no reasonings. I'm coming straight home and we streaming. We getting active. Monday, 6 o'clock p.m. COD Raw Dog. Respectful Raw Dog. There it goes. Okay, cool. It is set. We're getting active. We are getting active on Monday, and I can't wait. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, I'm gonna go live again later on today. Remember, Raw starts 2 Eastern this Monday. Crap. I'll be at work. Crap. Let me see. Okay, let's look at Wednesday. He's like, let's look at Wednesday. I'm off Wednesday. I set the same alarm on Wednesday. There it goes. How about that? I set the same alarm on Wednesday. So Wednesday, no more excuses. I was like, it's Tuesday. Yeah, Monday I'll definitely be at work around that time. But Wednesday, definitely be good. Wednesday should be a banger. Or if not, I'll see what Tuesday works. Tuesday, I might have work. Tuesday, I don't think I can get away with that. Tuesday, I think I might struggle with that. But Wednesday, definitely. Wednesday. Dynamite watch along it is. Look, the alarm was set for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So look, it's perfect. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be on the lookout for Circle of Debate. Since we're talking about Circle of Debate, they're actually going to be live for their live stream. I'm actually going to be out and about outside. We're got some food outside. Got some good food outside. While on top of also getting this YouTube clip together. So if I have that posted before Circle of Debate, I'll see if we can get some motion. See if we can get some action going as well. But outside of that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Watch Circle of Debate. They're going to have a Clash in Paris watch along, and it is going to be an absolute banger. It's going to be so much fun. Of course, I'm going to be tuned in as well. I'm going to be locked in as well. So be on the lookout for Circle of Debate. They do some great work there. The magic is always made in Circle of Debate. So thank you guys so much for tuning in again. Like I said, going to be live later on today. Also, thank you, Justin. Thank you, Jordan Kirby, for sliding on as well, having a whole lot of fun on the stream. We also had Twitch. What's going on Twitch? Audio was a little whoppy jawed last night. Was a little whack. So, and even on top of that, I won my 2 belts. I was Izzy 2 belts for about three matches, and then I ended up losing, and I threw a temper tantrum. I threw a fit. So we got to recover. We got to bounce back. So, and I will at some point in time. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.